Good morning, students. Welcome back to history class. Today we shall learn chapter 13, that is Life of the People in Maharashtra. Children, in this textbook we have learned all about Maratha powers and establishment of Swaraj. Okay? So here now we'll see how was the life of the people in Maharashtra. Shivaji Maharaj founded Swaraj with the intention for the welfare of the common people and removal of prolonged, cruel, and unjust treatment by the various authorities to the common people and the protection of Maharashtra Dharma. In the period after Shivaji Maharaj, Maratha power spread to all parts of India. We have seen, children, as there was the period of Peshwas. We have seen Shahu Maharaj appointed Balaji Vishwanath as the first Peshwa, and when there was the rule of Peshwas, they extended Maratha power in the various parts of India, and it lasted for about 150 years. We have gathered various information about Maratha powers and their administration. Now let's see, children, about the social condition of the people during the time of Maratha power. Children, agriculture and occupation based on agriculture were the major sources of protection. Children, that agriculture is the main occupation in India. So at that time, agriculture and the various occupations like animal husbandry and fishing and poultry farming, sericulture, these all are the occupations which are somewhat based on agriculture, were the major sources of production. Patil was responsible for the protection of the village. Children, now also different duties are assigned to the different ministers at the different levels. Different means at the different levels we have the government representatives. So at that time also there were ministers, they were the representatives of the people. So Patil was responsible for the protection of the village. There was one officer, Kulkarni, he handled the revenue. Then the balutedars were paid in the form of objects, food grains, etc. The village occupations were divided into Kali and Pandhari. Children, the village occupation was divided into two, that was Kali and Pandhari, and at that time there was joint family system. Now, what were the customs and traditions at that time? Okay. Child marriages were prevalent. Children, at that time it was very, very common to get the children married. It means children were getting married at the time. To perform the last rites, burning, burial, and immersion methods were used as per traditions. Means children, they were using the common um, way which was done by their forefathers for burning and burial. Okay, then Mahurata or auspicious occasions were sought for every little things and also to open battles. Now also children, you might have watched in the various movies and at your home also, people use Mahurat. Okay, so at that time for various occasions, very often they were, for every little thing they were using the system of finding out the Mahurat and to even open the battles. Anushtans were performed to avoid the wrath of gods and planets. They were doing the various uh, rituals, okay, children, to avoid the anger of God and planet. And standard of living of the people means what was their economical condition. The villages were mostly self-sufficient. Children, within the village, they were people were trying to fulfill their needs by providing the various services. Only salt had to be imported from other places. Rest all thing, no, children, they were trying to produce within their particular village, or they were trying to provide the services within the village. Only they were importing salt from the other places. You know, children, salt used to be produced only in the coastal areas. So the areas which were away from the coastal regions, they were importing salt. The daily diet consisted of bhakri, onion, chutney, and an accompaniment. Means some other thing like bhakri, onion, chutney, some vegetables and all they were using. Barter system was used for everyday transaction. You know, children, previously people were not using notes and coins. Okay, so they were exchanging the goods for everyday transactions. Like if somebody produced wheat and the other one produced rice, so they were exchanging their goods. They were not giving notes and coins. Vadas with one or two stories were seen in cities. In cities, children, there were the construction of vadas which were either one or two stories. Men wore a dhoti, kurta, angarkha, and mundese. Women wore 9 yard saris and blouses. Then children, they used to celebrate various festivals also, like Gudi Parva, Nagpanchami, Bail Pula, Dasera, Diwali, Makar Sankrant, Holi, Eid. In the Peshwa period, Ganeshotsav was celebrated in many homes. Weapons were offered puja, and it was customary to cross the boundaries, ceremonies, and distribute apta leaves on Dasera. So, children, during the time of prayer, puja, they were offering weapons, and it was their custom to cross the boundaries. Okay, Simolanghana, and to distribute apta leaves on Dasara. Then tamasha was a popular form of entertainment. At that time, children, tamasha was the popular form of entertainment. Then, how were they taking education? Pathshalas and madrasas were the institute that imparted education. Now, children, we have schools, various institutions universities, colleges to impart education. But at that time, only pathshalas and madrasas were the institute. They were only imparting education. Reading, writing, and arithmetic was taught at home. Children were learning reading and writing and arithmetic at home. The Modi script was used in most transactions. Now, travels and communication. Children, nowadays we have the facility of transportation and communication. Easily we can move from one place to another, and by sitting one corner of the world we can talk to the people who are sitting to the next corner. So at that time, how would the people travel and they send the messages to the people? Transport was carried out by roads, through ghats, and across bridges on rivers. At that time, also, children, there were some roads, and they were crossing the ghats and they were crossing the bridges which were constructed on rivers. Cloth, food grains, groceries were transported by loading them on the backs of the bullocks. Children, nowadays we have different vehicles, trains, ships, and uh, planes. But at that time, all these facilities were not there, so people were using bullocks, okay, to sending the goods, to import, to carrying the goods from one place to another place. Then small boats were used in rivers. People were using small boats also in rivers. Messengers and camel riders carried letter to and fro. Children, as now we have mobile phones and computers and various facilities, laptops to communicate with the people, to send the messages. But at that time all these facilities were not there, so they were the messengers. They were carrying the messages from one place to the next place, and they were camel riders also. They were also carrying the letters to and fro, means they were taking the messages, and whatever messages they were receiving they were bringing it back. Now, children, what all sports people used to play at that time? Which all sports were popular? Nowadays, children, in our country, cricket, football, hockey, marathon, all these are very, very popular. Okay, so various sports were popular in this period also. There were a means of entertainment. Now, children, sports keep us fit and fine, and they are the means of entertainment. Wrestling and martial arts were very popular. Children, even today wrestling and martial art are very popular. Mallakhamb, dand, lathi, dand patta, bhotati were practiced. Mallakhamb, you can see in the picture, children, you all even know, we call it pyramid, okay, then dand, then lathi, then dand patta, bhotati, these all were practiced. Then hututu, kho, atya patya, these all were the popular outdoor games. And chess, ganjifa, dice were popular indoor games. Children, at that time, even people used to play chess, then ludo, okay, these all were the indoor games. And atya patya, kho, all these were the outdoor games, and these all were very, very popular at that time. Now, religion and conduct, the behavior of the people and their religion. Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj had a liberal religious policy. We have already seen, children, there was no compulsion on anyone to have faith in a particular religion and to follow or to practice a particular religion. Everybody was free to have faith in a particular religion and to practice it. The government gave grants to pathshalas, temples, madrasas, and mosques. Government used to provide their aid or money to pathshalas, temples, madrasas, and mosques also. Warkari, Mahanubhav, Dattanath, and Ramdasi Panths were prevalent. All these castes were there, children, okay, which were prevalent at that time. Then how was the life of the women at that time? Women's life in those days was full of hardships. Their world was confined to the house of first their father and then their husband. Children, at that time, life of the women was not easy. It was full of hardship, and their world was just limited to the house, first to their fathers and afterwards to their husband. Their education was neglected. They were not allowed to go to the school and to take education. Only a few exceptional women had achieved any progress in literacy, administration, and battle skills. Like, for example, Veer Mata Jijabai, Maharani Yasubai, Maharani Tarabai, Umabai Dabade, Gopika Bai, Ahlia Bai. Then, children, customs like child marriage, unequal marriage, widowhood, Keshwapan, Sati, polygamy had imposed hard restrictions on the way women lived. Children, there was the common practice of child marriage. At the very young age, there was the marriage of the children. Okay, there could be the lot of differences in the age of man and the women. Then widows were not allowed to marry. Then they were forcing a woman to give up her life as there was the death of her husband. And children, there was the polygamy means only the male members were the head of the families. They were only deciding everything in the family matters. Women were not having any freedom to take any decisions. Okay, so there were a lot of problems women were facing at that time. Now, children, there are some more points like sculpture, ghats, painting, temples, sculptures. Okay, then literature and drama we'll see in the next video. Thank you.